And celebrity psychic Laura Powers is back, and we're talking about what destinations are supernaturally fun to travel to. Welcome back to the Jet Set. Have you ever wondered why some cities seem more supernatural than others? Have you ever been to Hollywood, Savannah, New Orleans, New York, and been tempted to take a haunted tour? Well, author, psychic, host, and traveler Laura Powers is back to talk about her recent travels to New Orleans and how to plan a supernatural trip of your own. Laura, welcome back to the show.
Thanks so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
I'm so happy to see you. So you travel quite extensively.
I do.
And I was wondering, have you noticed that some cities kind of have more of like a supernatural feel than others? Why do you think that is?
Absolutely. It's definitely that there are some cities that have a lot of supernatural activity while some don't have very much at all. So some of it has to do with what's happened in the city. So if there's been a lot of trauma, a lot of intense events, those will often create more of an energy where the paranormal and supernatural is there.
Have you been to a city like Savannah, for example? That always comes to my mind, where you were like, oh, there's just a lot of activity here, or there's a different feeling as opposed to somewhere else?
Absolutely. So for example, New Orleans you brought up is extremely supernatural, as well as Mexico City is another city that is very supernatural. Also cities where there's more history in general you tend to have more activity than a newer city.
So you have recently spent a lot of time in New Orleans. Tell me about some of the things that you have experienced while you were there.
Oh my gosh, yeah, there's so much activity. I mean, you can like cut it with a knife. But I was at a cemetery doing one of the tours, and literally in the middle of the day, a brick wall, like a couple of the pieces fell down in the middle of the day by themselves. You know, by themselves, you know, but a spirit essentially knocked it over.
Really?
Yeah.
And so for you, being kind of so hyper aware of everything, what are some other things that, if you're in a place like New Orleans, happens? I mean, for you, is it just so loud, just all that constant energy, or is it kind of, how is that for you as a psychic being there?
I think you can actually feel it sometimes. I mean, for example, in New Orleans, it's one of the only cities where people will arrive and think, I want to go to a psychic while I'm here, you know, it lends itself to that. So I think paying attention to how you feel. Also, are there more things that aren't explained easily through logical means?
What are some other places that you love to visit that have a supernatural feel to them?
Sure. So London and Paris are two cities where I've actually hosted paranormal tours.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What's happened to you over there?
Oh my gosh. Well, connect with the spirit of Jack the Ripper. That was really fascinating. Any places where there's been a lot of, again, death or trauma. So the plague was there. So yeah, just connected with a lot of spirits, did some energy clearing, and just told the people that were on the tour what I was sensing.
Here's a question. Does it change every time you go? I know you go to places like New Orleans a lot. So on some trips when you go, is it kind of more active than other times?
Yeah, there'll be times actually where it is more active depending on even what's happening astrologically. So that'll impact also where you are, what you attract as a person will impact what is drawn to you.
Oh, so if someone wants to take maybe like a spiritual tour or a haunted tour, where do you think they should start?
Well, there's a lot of groups out there, and I say, you know, do a search online and see if you can look at reviews, and I do private, like more personalized tours for people as well.
You always just have the most interesting things to share. I always love when you're here on the show. If people want to learn more about you and your book, Supernatural Survivor Guide, where can they find more information?
Thank you. Yeah, my information is on my website, www.healingpowers.net.
Excellent. Where are you off to next?
So I'm from here to Colorado, LA, and then New Orleans.
New Orleans again?
Yes.
I think New Orleans is just keep drawing you back. I mean, you might want to think a place, maybe you should.
I'm thinking of getting a place there because I go so often.
And then can I come join you there? Because it really is just one of my favorite places ever.
I would love to explore it there with you.
Okay, good.